Good evening, folks. I hope everyone is doing well. I said I'd pop on this wonderful Friday evening to have a chat with you for about half an hour about the game tomorrow, about last week, about going forward, about players who we should be getting rid of in the summer, what positions we need to strengthen, that kind of malarkey. I don't kind of give notice when I'm going to these podcasts because I'd say 1 minute I'm going to jump on and do it, and then next minute I'm busy doing something else. So, hope you are all doing well. So it's been a roller coaster of a season, as expected. A lot of football has been played, and tomorrow is another test for Celtic. Another test at home against Kilmarnock, a team that's won the last game against Motherwell, which Motherwell got a player sent off. And let's be honest, we're favourites. We're at home. We should be getting these 3 points. It's all about reaction. Is the war tomorrow? We're the champions of Scotland. If we want to win the treble this season, we have to polish the league off and then focus on the semi-final against St. Johnstone, and then go to the stage where we could either be playing Hearts or Aberdeen in the final. But I'm not thinking that far ahead. I'm thinking about this weekend. I'm thinking about just getting over the line. Kilmarnock will be there to cause an upset. So realistically, how this is going to work is if Celtic win tomorrow and Rangers lose to Aberdeen on Sunday, we're confirmed champions. Simple as it is, we're confirmed champions. And I wish we were going into this game, the pressure off us after. But last week against St. Johnstone, we were appalling. And I know teams have their bad days at the office, but something like Cameron Carter-Baker said in the press conference today, there's been times where we have so much possession, we have them chances, we end up getting 3 or 4 goals by the end of the game, and then we win, and no one talks about the bad things. But it's just the mentality. This is a team that's struggling to stay in the Premiership, and we could see the early goal, and then you see the likes of Jota. He looked quite frustrated on Sunday. Austin Trusty's just not up for it. Jeffrey Schultz wasn't great at all. The whole team as a collective just looked completely out of touch. And it's not just that game, it's been brewing and brewing. And this is what happens. You feel like you're on holiday mode. You feel like you have the league won because you've done the Champions League campaign, and you have that gap there. But that gap can be cut, and Rangers have been absolutely brutal this season, but we've lost them twice. What just shows about us since the new year, where we've actually lost 4 games domestically. What is going on with the team? What is going on? Is it Brendan half checked out as well? So when he came out and said he wasn't happy with the performance, wasn't happy, obviously the way the team conducted ourselves, and they've been working on things this week. And you can when players are dipping off form, he says it's his job to have that man management, to have that, arm around the shoulder and say, look, get in the right path. I don't know, people like myself that has been single out Nicholas Kilm, a guy that was being absolutely on fire till about mid February, and he's just dipped. His form has dipped. I don't know if it's just too much games in the belt, or he feels like he's done enough to maybe, have that dramatics of maybe moving on this summer if Celtic are willing to sell him. Personally, I wouldn't like to see Celtic sell him. I know some fans would like to, cash out and let him go. I think Nicholas Killen could be a player we could have in our books for another 2 years. I know he's on a long-term contract, but I mean, as in getting there, getting more goals, proving it in Europe, proving it in derby games. Big asset. So let us know in the comments. There's 4 people tuning in. Said I pop on for half an hour. I don't really give the notice of saying I'm going to pop on and I'll see you at 7:30 or I'll see you at 9 o'clock. It's just I've been busy. Simple as. And it's no point in making excuses saying I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I just can't at the moment. When things quiet down a little bit, I'll be back on doing the full swing of things and doing what I love doing best, is doing YouTube videos and podcasts. So to anyone that's recognise me when I'm working in my full-time job, or recognise me in the pub or whatever, or even on a plane and going home to Glasgow, cheers, thanks very much. Appreciate the compliments. I do, I really do. This is my starting lineup for tomorrow. Yang is out injured, which is an absolute kick in the teeth. So this is my starting lineup for tomorrow. Now you can't see the keeper, but it's Sinsalo. Obviously, Casper's out for another maybe 4 weeks. I know there's been speculation going around that we're interested in Dubravka of Newcastle. What a load of nonsense. To be honest, I wouldn't go for him. Last season, before I started last season, I was like, yeah, I'll go for him and then we signed Casper. Like, okay, we have a good understudy there in Sinsalo. Pulled off some really good, decent saves against St. Johnston. Unfortunately, it wasn't his fault for the goal. Just down to poor defending at the back post. I think some of these players need a reality check. And it's not a case that we're second in the league and we're chasing a title here. It's a case where how can you get so, just fed up? Like, not even fed up, just so off it. Like, half-arsed. That's what it is. Like, it's just, you see the likes of Alistair Johnson. Alistair Johnson he's been off the grid the last few games, and he's been one of our best players. And I know form is temporary, but it's a team collective here. There's so many players that are just not feeling at the moment. Mayeda is sticking out by a mile that he's doing really well. I really believe I've said this on the channel many times, and I mean this. Arnie Ingles will be a cracking player next season. He will get there. The first season is all about getting used to the game, getting used to his teammates, getting used to the culture of football. It's a more physical league than Bundesliga, Scottish football. Is it a better league? Definitely not. But it's a more physical league than Bundesliga. And I think Arnie Ingles will be a cracking player, and I think next season. But we 100% need to go out and invest in this team, especially regards to a striker. We're getting Tierney in the summer. I don't know if Jeffrey's going to come in as a free agent as well. I think it'd be a good bit of business to get them two in. There's been nonsense rumours going around that Rangers might be interested in taking Greg Taylor on a free in the summer. What a load of absolute nonsense, to be honest. I think Greg Taylor, as he's been, I know he was in the Rangers Academy years ago. Well, the Oco Academy years ago. I can't see him going back to Rangers. I see him with the performance he's played against them for Celtic. Well, he wouldn't be going back to Rangers, it'd be a new club since he played for them that time. But definitely not. Greg Taylor won't be going to Rangers. It's a lot of absolute nonsense. A few pundits making up the stories and stuff like that. I can understand where pundits are saying, well, be a good bit of business for them because it means that they can strengthen. They have a player that knows the league quite well, but no. Greg Taylor's going to Zagreb, or he's going to the English Championship, and let him go. Let him go. He's done enough in the Celtic shorts to, deserve his coin, deserve his status as a decent player at Celtic. He won't be in a great, he won't be in an icon status, but he was a grafter and still has games to play for Celtic, so hopefully he pulls up them performances and we'll see what happens. But in regards to the game last night, Bilbao, good crowd they bring to Glasgow, and hopefully I wish them well next week and they get a result in the Europa League. Bilbao, we obviously have a good connection with Athletic Bilbao, fantastic club. Obviously they played tributes to Billy McNeil in that stadium. I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago. Really good club, and the Basque countryside. The Sociedad as well up there. So yeah, not bad. So 2 people are tuning in. I know there's no comments coming through. I don't know if I'm people are watching other podcasts, or it's just the timing. People are out drinking that book fast, or who wants to watch some guy talking on Friday night when this weather's cracking out there? Makes sense to just forget about the YouTube stuff. We're at that end of the season where, as much as it's business, we kind of want to hear what's going on with kits, what's going on with players being linked to us, what's happened with players potential leavings in the summer. You know, we obviously have that friendly against Cork City coming up as well in the summer. Well, obviously Adamida's on a long-term deal. Will we see a bit more better from Adamida towards the end of this season? Maybe. I picked up from a lot this season, even though he went through that spell where he took him nearly 14, 15 games to score, and he's 14 goals this season. It's difficult. It's difficult to see players being in that position. As fans, we wish them the best, and especially when there's a 9 million price tag on your head, and you're like, will he turn up? He has scored goals in the Champions League, scoring against Villa twice, scoring against, you could say young boys. I know it was an own goal, scoring against Bratislava. So that's an experience for him, and his debut season in the Champions League, which you can take credit for. But Keown has been fantastic. But as I said, in the last 3-4 weeks, he's dipped down. I don't know if it's just a case that we're seeing a fighting Yang. It's good to see Jamesy back. I know Jamesy came on last weekend and tried to spark the game, and there was a good save towards the end of the game. And he thought, I'd love to see James Forrest obviously get that goal, and I think that will be 15 seasons in the Premiership scoring. So hopefully Jamesy gets that goal. And thanks very much, James Forrest, for sending me missus sending me a birthday message from me missus. Really appreciate it, James. What a guy. I'm nervous about tomorrow, because not because we're at home, not because of the implications of winning the game and moving closer to the championship. It's the reaction. Is it going to be a slow first half of football? Will it be a case where we scored early and smash Kilmarnock? Like McInnes, he's on a knife edge with his job at the moment. Like, let's be honest, Derek McInnes, he got them promoted a couple of years back. He got them into the top half of the table. They had a bit of European football in there, but he's done with Kilmarnock, and yes, he's done well with Aberdeen in the past and stuff, and got results against us in the past, but I think we'll have enough to beat them, to be honest, and we should have enough. There should be enough in that squad, that depth, starting Alistair Johnson, they'll be starting Jeffrey Shupp, I'd be starting Naroski ahead of Trusty. I'm on the fence with Trusty. It's not even just the performance, it's the personal stuff, like him. I know, get me wrong, when you're in love and he's happy, baby, inbound, wedding stuff and all that, but like, come on, leave that to the end of the season. You're fucking playing for Celtic, mate. You're playing for Celtic. Keep your cringy shit to the end of the season. You're playing for a club in a big city where it's two clubs, and the two clubs want one thing, which is the title, and make their fans right. You don't want to finish second place. We're not going to finish second place, but having that kind of stuff, focus on the most important thing, which is winning trophies and winning medals, especially coming from a club where Sheffield United were got relegated. I know Sheffield are pushing for championship, and it's just frustrating, to be honest, to see that kind of stuff from Trusty. Naroski getting back in the squad, getting back in. I don't know if Scales will be available for tomorrow as well. You go for Latate, Ingles, Cal Mack in that midfield. Go for Jota, go for Keown, and go for Maeda. I'm sorry, Adamida, but bring Adamida on as a sub. So there's two people watching. The numbers are brutal tonight. I'm not surprised with the weather out there. I'm not surprised with probably the podcast on. I'm not surprised with just in general, the lack of content from me. As I said, I'm not giving up on the channel. Just being distracted with other stuff, and once that's a little bit settled down, be back on doing the right thing, posting stuff, and I appreciate the patience for people that have stuck by me through this last 2 months of not posting much. You know, I'd rather not post up recorded videos of other clips because yes, it is a video and you could hear it from somewhere else, but I'd rather just put up, you know, the proper stuff where me give me opinion and get the comments below. Ask me about the league jersey. Ask me about players come and go. Ask me about positions. Ask me about the score. Ask me about Brendan's contract. You know, I look at Brendan and I'm happy Brendan's our manager. But has Brendan lost that little bit of hunger in the tummy as well? Time will tell, you know. He said winning the title last season, it was as good as winning the title the first time around because of the way he came back and, you know, the story around of a good portion of fans not accepting him back and the criticism he received. And, you know, they were in a title race for a good part of the season and then they just stepped up the gear last season. And I think a big turning point was that Dundee game at Dens Park when James Forrest scored them beautiful goals. That was a big turning point. But will we have Brendan in his contract for his third year? Time will tell. It's quite sad that Andrew's getting absolutely teared asunder down by the English press. Like some people writing columns saying that if he was to win the Europa League, he'd be still sacked. That kind of stuff. You know, I've touched on this a couple of times. I don't want to repeat myself when I say this, but I'll do it again. You know, you see the likes of Matt O'Reilly can't get the game for Brighton. You know, that big transfer there, 10 minutes into his Brighton career, you know, gets that tackle, that horrific tackle. He's out the sidelines for what? 3 months, is it? Then you see the likes of Jota, struggled at Rennes, came back to us, loving life again. You know, some of these players just, you know, they take a risk for their own careers and it doesn't pay off for them. So that it's too much tempo. They're not hacking it, or they just don't get how big it is for whatever club they sign for, you know. Or maybe the teammates around them just don't give them that encouragement, or maybe they're all prima donnas. I don't really know, folks. But like it was strange about Kyogo, but Kyogo's in the past now, and people ask me, and people have been asking me on the socials, will we take Kyogo back? No, definitely not. He's you know, thanks for the good times, Kyogo. Thanks for the 6 goals you scored for Celtic. But we need to go out and get a good striker, pay about 8 to 9 million for a striker. We got to show the checkbook to Brendan if he's here in the summer. Look, he should be here in the summer. He's on a long contract. There's no one. He's not being linked to any clubs. But I don't know. Just the body language I've got off Brendan over the last kind of 6-7 weeks. I you know what? I'll even go back to the Ibrox game. That's the body language I get. I know different managers deal with their feelings different, as in they'll hide their emotions or they won't speak out a certain way to the press about how they're feeling disappointed and stuff like that. But just I don't know. It's just a strange time at the moment. But we shouldn't be moaning too much because we have a title to win. And if we win, we do our job tomorrow and Rangers don't do their job on Sunday, I think we'll be popping a bottle of champagne. We'll be celebrating 55 titles. The real 55 titles. Not this liquidated malarkey. The real 55 titles. So, we good. So, folks, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to try to get back on tomorrow. Have a chat with you properly after the game. Hopefully, the numbers will be a wee bit better. And I'll speak to you all soon. Hail. Keep safe. See you all soon. Up the Celts.